Okay, today I want to talk about quitting. And first and foremost, I am going to show you a little painting I did. Right, so with my work, I did a paint and prosecco class with my colleagues, and this is the back of the painting. And there was one point whilst painting that I was like, "Oh my god, this is absolute tripe. I cannot show my colleagues this. They will excommunicate me. This is absolutely terrible. I cannot show them. It's just too embarrassing to put my name to this piece." Right? It was so bad. Right? But then, because of the nature of the paint prosecco and the fact that I was only 20 minutes into a 90-minute session, I had to continue to keep participating. And lo and behold, I got the painting into a place where I was, quite proud of it. This is it now. I still don't like the clouds. I think I've done a terrible job there. I'm actually quite proud of the sunset and the little water feature. And if you think this is shoddy, you should have seen what it was like at its lowest point, about 20 minutes in. And so that brings me on to Seth Godin's The Dip. Unbelievable book, only about 70 pages long, very thin. And he talks about this pop culture adage that winners never quit, which is really not true. Take, for example, Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world. He used to work in McDonald's, and had he never quit his McDonald's job, he never would have gone on to find Amazon, and he would not be the richest man in the world. Found, start. Let's go with start. Start Amazon, and he'd not be the richest man in the world. And two other extremely rich men, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, they both dropped out of Harvard. They both quit Harvard in order to pursue their startups, their businesses. And look how it worked out for them. So this adage of winners never quit is not true, as the inimitable Seth Godin says. As he says, winners know when to quit, know when to quit at the right time and the right things. And so let's take, for example, a project, right? And the reason why it's called dip is because Seth is describing the hardest part, right? And there will always be a dip in every project. Take, for example, your New Year's resolutions to get fit, right? The dip doesn't come straight away in January 1st. That's when you're full of excitement. That's when you're doing it. The dip comes in about February or March when it's a cold winter's morning and you have to get up and go to the gym and it's really hard and you really don't want to do it. That's the dip, right? It's testing your resilience. It's when the adversity is most there. So my dip for this painting was when it looked truly awful and I needed to be excommunicated in my mind, right? That was the dip. But I pushed through and it got better, right? And so I believe that happens with every single creative project. I believe that there is a dip, there is a point where every piece looks truly awful and you cannot show it to anyone. Otherwise, you will be absolutely mortified or excommunicated or exiled or whatever you'd like to say. I believe there's a dip in every creative project, right? And so what Seth advises is that there are certain times to quit, right? So let's say, for example, I have a notion for a crazy cupcake short film where the cupcake gets mutated and becomes a thing, and then it goes around eating everyone else's food, right? And right, so whilst it's a notion, it's very vague and uncertain. And but if I indulge that notion, and if I flesh it out, and I say, okay, if I were to make this cupcake idea a short film a reality, what would it take? What would it take time wise? What would it take resources wise? What would it take effort wise? Right? And so I flesh it out. I get a realistic plan of how much it's going to require, and then that is the point to quit or not quit. So if I see, for example, that it's actually going to take me a lot longer than I thought, it's actually going to cost me a lot more money than I thought, and it's actually going to require a lot more effort than I thought, that is the time to quit. You know what? It's not worth the time, it's not worth the effort, it's not worth the money. It was just a silly idea, just a cupcake idea. No thanks, right? But if I choose to go in, if I choose to do it, then I'm in it all the way to the finish. Because there will be 100%, definitely, without question, a hard bit. there'll be a point where it'll all be terrible, where it's taking too much time, it's not coming together, it looks awful. I'm not proud of it. People are stressing me out, or I'm getting stressed. I'm stressing other people out. Right? There will be a low point. Right? And so as Seth says, the trick is not to quit at the low point, not to quit in the dip, because there will always be a dip. And instead, you will enhance your resilience, and you will enhance your shipping and finishing skill and prowess by pushing through and committing to finishing. Once you start, you're committing to finishing, to shipping. I know that was a big, long, rambly rant, but I tried to do it in one take. This was the second take. I hope that helps. I truly recommend Seth's book, The Dip. It's really good. I hope all that rant makes sense. Have a good day.